Hello, everyone. Pio Marola here. I'm really excited to be here with you for a new LinkedIn discussion. Today, we will talk about accelerating your time to market with MDM. Of course, with the wonderful folks from Via Medici. Now, to begin with, let me welcome you all coming here today. Today I'm actually in Italy from the wonderful seashore of Puglia in Gargano. Some of you might have visited this place during holidays. It's absolutely warm today. We have about 40, 41 degrees and hence the short sleeves. So to begin with, I'd like to ask you, where are you coming from? I am very curious if we have anyone from Europe or every one of you is already on holidays. Let's see, who do we have? Natalia, of course, never missing a single one. So Natalia watching from Prague. And now, and of course, confirming that Puglia is indeed a wonderful region in Italy. It's a little bit unknown actually, but with time, of course, tourism is coming here as well. We have wonderful waters and a wonderful sea. And naturally, as most of the regions in Italy, wonderful food. Mane here from another wonderful place, actually, Yerevan in Armenia, where I will be going in August, very soon. Another sunny place with a lot of similarities to southern Italy. Just the sea is missing, otherwise it would really feel like home. Welcome, Mane. So today we're going to talk about accelerating your time to market. Now, clearly in the age of speed, in the age when it's important to innovate fast and bring your solutions and bring your products to the market, it is absolutely fundamental that companies are able to act quickly. They're able to bring their product to the market and be the first, or at the very least to keep at pace with the speed of innovation and, of course, to bring their idea to their customers. We're going to talk about MDM too, and you might wonder why. What's the connection between MDM and time to market? And the reality is, if you do not have data you can trust, if you do not know if your products are compliant, how can you be fast going to the market? But today, of course, I have two wonderful guests, Jürgen Müller and Albis Meyer, coming from Via Medici. Of course, for many of you watching our sessions, they are household names. And of course, they are the real experts about this topic. And I'm really looking forward to welcome them on stage to discuss a little bit what they have, what they have to share about the topic, their experience that they have with their clients, customers, partners. Together, therefore, we can learn more about how to accelerate your time to market with MDM. Without any further ado, let me welcome on stage Jürgen and Al. Welcome.
Hi, Pio. How you doing?
Hi, Pio.
Fantastic. How about you too?
Doing great.
Also, absolutely great. And also here, I think everywhere it's hot and warm now.
Yeah. Well, in case I'm going to start melting on camera, you know why. It's like 41, 42 degrees right now. So it's indeed quite a temperature. So, of course, many in the audience know you already, but tell us something about yourself and perhaps also bring some news, something you've done lately at Via Medici.
Good. So then I start. So I'm Jürgen Müller. I'm a CEO and co-founder of Via Medici. I have a very long background in technology and also business consulting and simply using technology in order to optimize processes and the way we work. And this is also something we do here, essentially focused all around data and how we can improve enterprise processes and business through excellent management of data and usage of data. So that's our specialty. At the moment, it's really a lot going on, so lots and lots. This is simply, as we have just some months ago launched our new release, and Then, based on this, we're now going into the larger rollout in our cloud environments. So this, of course, means that we are super busy, but also provide lots of additional add-on features, functions, and also direct values for our customers, like sustainability management and things like that, which is not just available out of the box, which is a very cool story. So we are very busy right now.
I am Al Bismeyer. I'm the Global Vice President with Via Medici, and I've been in the IT industry for 35 years, kind of providing solutions for customers and kind of accelerating or right-sizing the solution sets that they utilize to get benefits. So under commit, over deliver is kind of a mantra that I've had and been successful with customers. And as Jürgen mentioned, we're very excited about the ePIM5 launch. We launched it about 2 months ago. It has a lot of AI functionality and capabilities built into it. We have some sustainability 360 stuff that's going on in terms of compliance. We're actually optimizing workflows to get products to market quicker and easier, and having a total view of what's going on within an organization. So, as well as digital self capabilities. So there's a ton in the ePIM5 release that we have. Our customers are excited about it. They're moving to it quickly, and we've been kind of addressing a number of new topics with it as well, because there are new things that are able to be done with the solution set. But it's interesting, as you kind of opened up the introduction, you need good data for this AI stuff and for all these things to work. And so it's all about the data. And if you've got the good data and you got the right processes, you can be very effective in the marketplace. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that in this session.
Absolutely. It's really good, really exciting to hear about the sustainability aspect, because I feel, speaking to many clients and many of our followers, sustainability is probably, together with AI, is probably the topic of 2024.
They're actually two of the top targets, even within Gartner, if you kind of look at where they are. And we've been fortunate. We're partnering with a company called Sustain 360 that works directly in concert with our solution set. And then we actually are also working with another partner that does micro models with AI that are domain specific, so you can look at ingredient or material substitutions in terms of bill of material, which is fascinating and extremely quick and very beneficial. It's kind of revolutionizing what you're going to see in the marketplace.
Exciting stuff. Now, let's get to the topic of the day: accelerating your time to market with MDM. Help us making the connection here. How can MDM accelerate the time to market?
Yeah, maybe first, I want to talk a little bit about why it is so important. So, and it's really time to market is becoming more and more important. You have to get your products out there quick. And what is market? So for most companies, market today is global. So it's not enough to get something to your regional market. Usually you have to get it to global markets. And in order to get things to market, you also need to get it into all your channels. And this also is completely changed. So companies have several channels. Very rarely it's just one channel. And you need to serve all those channels. And then, of course, you have products are getting more complex. They're getting more customizable, more personalized, individualized. So this also means that you need to inform and train your distributors, your own sales staff. You need to give them good tools at hand so they can really quickly interact with their clients and their customers. You need to provide a lot of information for the marketplace, for the clients. So it's really tons of things you have to do. And at the same time, there's a lot of competition. So when you have an innovation, it's really, you really have to push it to the market as fast as possible. In some market spaces, it's really that when it's out there, you get best price, and then you can already see month to month, price is going a little bit down, and competition is picking up. So it's becoming more and more important that this is really a very, very efficient process you set up in an enterprise. This new product introduction and process. This is simply getting more and more important, and it relates really a lot to the data. Because for all the things I just mentioned, you need data. And so managing that data in a way that it's immediately available, setting up good processes here is simply a requirement for quick time to market in general. So this is how we come up with this topic.
Yeah, and I'd like to I totally agree with everything Jürgen just mentioned, and I'd like to jump on that a little bit more, is that the data is key. It's key in decision making in terms of products and in terms of information that's out there. So it's not just the image or it's the actual content that surrounds the product. It's its application, it's how it's being utilized, it's whether it's a good substitute for another solution that's in the market. And so when you look at, folks in the market that are looking at products from an e-commerce or marketplace perspective, they're making their determinations based on the content that's associated with the product. And so if that content is inaccurate and you don't have the right information, then they're not going to make the purchase. And in some respects, the information itself is more important than the brand. You look and you see, hey, this is the product, this is its capabilities, what is the rating from the various folks that are utilizing it, and can I get it quickly, and I make the purchase. And so having accurate product data and information that's associated with it and having all the boxes checked is very key. And the data internally needs to be accurate and available, and the data externally that's published needs to be accurate and available. And MDM streamlines that processes and guarantees that you have golden data, that can be utilized for your product, management essentially, and introductions.
Yes, and all of the things that you have mentioned, like the increasing complexity and the desire for customization as well, these are all things that, MDM is not something that can be skipped any longer, because MDM is really the only thing that can bring a degree of order and can bring a degree of access and simplification to all of this. So definitely there a massive link, and I would argue that if MDM is not up to the mark, it's very difficult to be fast in the time to market of an organization. It's just not possible anymore in 2024.
I totally agree. I think when I started my career, MDM was more analytical. It was reporting, it was data, it was things that you would actually have. Now MDM's become very operational. It's actually differential to the company. And so it's being able to make moves and introduce product quickly and actually have a 360 view of interaction to the product. And MDM is much more core to the business and much more required. And companies that are utilizing it effectively are differentiating themselves in the marketplace. And as we'll discuss, they're saving not only on cost, but in terms of time to market and what they're capturing. And then also how they do replacement of products. If there's a substitute, these types of things are all built into what MDM allows for.
Yeah, indeed. It's no longer something like, we need an MDM solution. How much? It's no longer that. There is definitely a competitive differentiator aspect to it. All those things that organizations are naturally trying to achieve, from the acceleration of time to market to sustainability to AI adoption, they're all very much interlinked and linked to MDM. It's changing dramatically in this sense. So I'm curious to hear if you can share with us some examples where perhaps with your clients or partners you witnessed or you helped accelerate in time to market, and what were the numbers behind it? What was the financial impact or the business impact that it had.
Yeah, so there are lots of examples and scenarios, and it's the impact is even bigger when you also focus on the process of kind of capturing and creating that data already in a very early stage. So maximum value and really maximum effectiveness regarding time to market, if that's the key criteria in the end, you really get when you very carefully design the data management process. So you already start in a very early stage. So in an early stage already, when you design your product and create your product in parallel to capture the data step by step and set everything up in a way that you have this available when you then want to go for getting it ready to market. So it's really a kind of, yeah, so some years ago, there was this term of product data lifecycle management and things like that.
Yeah.
So really data focused, not product lifecycle, but just for the data as well. And it's really like this. You have to not necessarily all in one system, so that does not even matter that much. In the end, it has to be integrated and overall an efficient process. But you have to start very early with getting all the data, capture it where the data is initially created, and then use it in order to enrich it, etc. So at best, you have everything available when your product is also ready to be launched, maybe even earlier, and not start when the product is there. So in very often you still find this, that you have product development, things like that. You have some stuff in parallel, but not really very well structured, and then you use a lot of time. Well, that's one important part. The second super important part is, and this is what we usually do in our projects, to have a look at this, and then also our partners who do the implementation here provide some consulting and assistance on how to design those processes in the best possible way. This is also a lot about work efficiency and things. Then the next is really the way you create your data model. So here you have to create it for maximum flexibility because you have to serve lots of different channels, lots of different purposes. And again, the more powerful your data model is here, the easier this is because you don't need to adjust anything later on, etc. So that's also an important step in the design phase of such a project. Then next thing is the enrichment. So especially also translation. So we are still in most cases not yet in a situation where you do everything in one language and all the rest is auto translation. So in most cases you have support from auto translation tools, but then you also have some quality checks, etc. So this also takes some time. So again, it's about the overall process efficient, do things early, everything readily available for the markets you need it when the products are also ready and you really want to push it out. So in parallel, so this is for the setup. When you do all this right and you really think about you want to push your products and you have large portfolio in lots of channels and lots of markets, then improvement time to market is easily around 80-90%. So really a lot. And 50% plus X, this is what you get in almost every case. So there's a huge potential. And then it depends, of course, to your business. But with several of our clients, the benefit, this is really more than 100 million bottom line result. So especially more complex and more complicated market, also with different distribution scenarios and things, where you usually lose a lot of time, maybe months, until you can ship your products. And then it's also not only about getting products to market initially, but then also running campaigns, starting the messaging, communicating product improvements, all that stuff, the same channels. It needs some additional information, but same way, same structure. So it is really a huge effect. And as I mentioned, it can easily be several $100 million as a result. And it is like this with several of our customers.
Okay. And what about the timing? I mean, how long would companies need in order to set up MDM to such a level that then it can be applied to accelerating your time to market and reach this 90% numbers that you have mentioned before?
Yeah, well, so I think there's several different pieces. I mean, typically, as Jürgen mentioned, the savings are huge on the savings side. And as a matter of fact, we've internally said, man, you know, they're so large that when you go and get in front of somebody, it's like they almost seem unrealistic. It's like, okay, you show this, and it's like, well, these are real numbers for our customers, and some of our customers don't even want to share the numbers because they see it as strategic, and so they're like, we don't want our name, we don't even want you mentioning that this is what we're doing with this stuff, because it has a huge benefit. And if you kind of look at your typical introduction cycles, you can go from years to months, you can go from months to weeks, in terms of, you can easily see a 70% reduction in terms of time to market. And what a lot of our customers are doing is they're actually developing their product plans and getting everything staged and set up, and then they have an effective date, and then they release it on that effective date. So they're doing all the pre-work before the publication and syndication of the product information. And so that's a standard process. And in kind of like our biotech, and we have some biotech and healthcare companies, when they're looking at clinicals or something, they're looking at all the information that's associated with it. They want legal involved, they want QA involved, they want the product group involved, they want and so you have to check off each one of these things. Well, if you have all those processes in your workflow and you have all that data that's predefined, and you actually can look and see within your dashboard, where am I in terms of being ready to release this thing, and then you move forward. And to answer your specific question, it depends. It's like, are you boiling the ocean, or are you doing a specific application? I mean, typically what's good is to say, let's take a product category or product group or this type of thing, work on it, define that process, get it effective, go from months to weeks type of thing. And then as you expand the portfolio and bring it out, then you can actually, have those larger, global savings that we're talking about, where you're managing your whole portfolio, our product data within the solution set. And so it's really good to kind of scope, hey, what's the initial effort? Maybe it's regional, maybe it's category based, and then you expand it. And that's a typical thing that makes sense. But it's very easy to have extremely good results on a category level, and then on a global portfolio level. It's probably good to start and cut your teeth on something that's manageable, and then expand it.
And it also helps to show results more quickly, and return on investment more quickly. And yes, of course, then repeat the model to a more global scale, let's say, to bring even bigger benefits.
Yeah, success breeds success. And actually, that's one of the things that our tool, not to get product specific, but one of the things that really is good about our tool set is that it's a dynamic data model and a model itself. So you can actually start out and then expand and enhance the model to address additional regional or product requirements as you're kind of moving through your cycle. So your scope and functionality may be this, and then it may expand considerably as you progress over time. And so that's a key piece. And the other key piece that we're seeing in the market is more and more companies are looking at data as a product. So it's basically having the information around, everything that's affiliated with it. And I mentioned biotech as an example, but you got a therapeutical, or you have some type of clinical, and you have a process and everything that you want to have built into it. And all the data that's affiliated with that is a differentiator of the product set itself. So you need to make sure that you're keeping that in lockstep, and that it's good and appropriate. And it may be different for countries, it may be different for the hospitals or medical groups that you're working with, versus clinics, I should say. So it's it's very different, and it all needs to be managed.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. So it's especially also that today it's really all about speed. Also, when you do such projects, so it's really implementing it in a way that you have fast results. So maybe, as Al mentioned, start just with part of your portfolio. So and then maybe also, if it makes sense in the first step, maybe aim for a 30% reduction, time to market improvement, and then maybe a second step, but this fast, and then go for 50% in the second steps, and the third step for 70%, and then you see if you want to squeeze out more and do more improvements, and then go maybe another 10-15% to that. So really like this. So instead of from the beginning going to the maximum, what you typically do is really you go for an approach that gets you productive and gets you benefits as soon as possible. Also, you know that there's still room for improvement, but you don't do it. You prefer to be productive now, and then step by step you log on from here.
What's the biggest obstacle that comes from not having good MDM? The thing that, let's say, slows down time to market the most in connection to not having good MDM?
So if I give a very broad answer, it's simply the biggest problem is you don't have your data. And this is actually you run into this with whatever you do. There are still many companies out there who really struggle to get their own products on their own websites or own e-commerce platforms. So even this, we are not talking about all the different marketplaces, e-procurement, all the other stuff. So just to get it on your own platforms might already really be quite a job if you do not have the data. So you permanently have to search around, ask people, lose a lot of time, work inefficiently, quality problems. So it is simply, I would say it's really a must. If you have a little larger portfolio and also quite some changes in your portfolio, so it's not like 90% of your products you introduce once and then sell on without any changes for the next 20 years. So if you have a larger portfolio, good renewal rate, etc., then you usually you simply can't do it anymore. So it's really a must. It's an absolute must if you want to. Yeah, it has also something to do with the agility of an enterprise. So like in many areas as well, if you want to have a kind of agile enterprise, you need to have your data in place. It has to be ready because otherwise it is always the bottleneck where you lose all your time. Systems you usually can fix relatively fast. I don't say that it's super easy to operate a very large e-commerce platform, but from experience, I can really tell that even when you introduce something like this, like you want to roll out a new large e-commerce platform, you are much more successful and much faster when you don't need to worry about the data at the same time. When in the same project you have to care for your data, then this is, it's 2, 3, 4, 5 times the duration. So like when you have it. So data is simply absolute key.
Yeah, I would say, so to answer from my perspective, I think it's different for different industries, but I also think it's different organizationally, because if you think about data itself, you have your ERP data, which is your bill material, product data, this type of thing. Then you have unstructured data, which is marketing, content, images, digital assets, media. You may have, content for the product. You have your product lifecycle management content. You have content in different areas, right? And really it's having consistency of the content and knowing what is the mastered content that we're utilizing for product representation in the marketplace and its availability. And the management of that is key. And in regulated industries, it's extremely important. Yeah. It's more important in a lot of respects. You can't release a product if you don't have the the checkbox checked for whether you're in the beverage industry, alcohol beverages, or the medical industry, whatever. Different regulations have different requirements, and so you can't release the product if you don't have these things checked off. Forget the content itself, which is even very important, especially as time to market and speed and product information is required for purchasing. It's actually compliance requirements and these types of things. So having this stuff at your fingertips, knowing where it is, having it centralized or available in the systems that require it, and having consistency is paramount. It's even more paramount today than it's ever been. And so that's what we're seeing. And like I said, different industries have different needs, but at the end of the day, it's about data availability and consistency and having good data, which is what you opened up with, because that's one of the things I think a lot of people, and we talked about this in some other sessions, they think, oh, AI is going to, create the silver bullet. We're going to, use AI and be able to fix all this stuff. Well, no, you still need good data. And if you have good data, then you can use a micro model and you can actually optimize something from a domain perspective and really have some super benefits. But you got to still address the governance and data issue, and you have to actually figure out, how you're kind of working through that. And so using a workflow and having an approval process and kind of working through this from an automated and manual fashion for exceptions and good data quality. And once you get that stuff going, and it builds upon itself. We did a session a few sessions back, actually, in the marathon, where we were talking about, supplier onboarding and how they incrementally were able to get the data more efficient with each pass. And so you're increasing the quality of the data, and that accelerates your introduction and your accuracy with regards to product descriptions and those types of things. And so that's another thing that is, it's not like you flip a switch and you got good data and you're ready to rock and roll. You need to kind of do this stuff incrementally, and once you get it humming, then it's very easy to do additional new introduction. Actually, it's even more efficient, because now you have a process, you know how the stuff's working, you know where it's coming from. You have the tool sets to be able to utilize it. People on the team understand it, and subsequent releases are much quicker and more efficient.
Mm-hmm. And I think it was a good point, Al, to mention that it's really also not only about electronic channels, e-commerce, and all that stuff, and marketing. So it's really a lot of other things too. Like, for example, you need your packaging. Maybe it's different for different market, different channels, different regions. Has to be produced. Again, you need some data. You need images. You need features, whatever. All that stuff has to be consistent, immediately available. You need to create manuals and all these things, labels. You need the data in order to create your proposals and offer documents. We have short descriptions, things like that. You need all this available. You need to have it available in all the languages for all the markets. So although these normal, easier things, it is a lot. So it is really a lot if you really think it through. And so it's simply an enormous benefit if you don't need to worry about this when you're ready to go to market and things are just there.
Yeah. And all of this is, of course, a part of creating trust in the information and trust in data, which is fundamental in order to communicate this trust also to the customers and internally as well. That,
of course,
what you're doing with,
Exactly. So that's another thing when we're thinking about things like customer experience and things like that. What of course also is largely improved if everything is really fully consistent and immediately available on all different channels in exactly the same way. So that's definitively several other benefits you get from it.
Absolutely. And have you personally seen in particular industry where the impact of MDM on accelerating time to market was particularly, pronounced, let's say, was particularly visible?
Yeah, so actually there's several industries. It's particularly visible in industries where you have, for example, lots of regulations you need to meet in the different regions. So this is something that really slows down the introduction process a lot. So you have that everywhere. It's about safety, security, things like that. So you have it in the whole pharma, medical technology, biotechnology industry. You have it also in building construction material industry, where you have also lots of regional regulations. You have to meet them, you have to fulfill some. You have it with complex industry goods. Here the problem is that you need to provide relatively complex information. So creating this is also a lot of work. Like for example, in engineering industry, or so electric, mechanic components, motors, drive and control, things like that. There you also see a significant impact. In generally, I would say that the increasing importance of compliance, sustainability, also things maybe in the future, then also digital product passport, which relates to it, makes the impact even bigger, because these are all things you need to cover before you can start selling.
Yes. And there's both a regulatory aspect, a reputational aspect,
Absolutely.
and all stuff that is crucial for the customer as well.
Yes.
Not just to make it, make it without fines, but also for the customer. Because again, I think the more we go ahead, the more customers value transparency in the information that they are told, and they buy and they connect to a product based on that too. And again, how can you provide that without data to begin with?
Right, absolutely. Yeah. And I would also say what you can also see a little bit in the market space is, there are some, for example, there's still in many parts of the world, this made in Germany is still kind of a quality thing. So people just expect that this meets all those criteria, that it is high quality stuff, it is reliable, and so on. And of course, there are lots of other countries also producing great stuff, but do not yet have maybe that image from the beginning. And here you can really see that they invest a lot in those topics, because then it's even more important. At least this is also a good way in kind of balance it out, that you really provide very comprehensive information, and this again gives you this credibility immediately. So this is also something you can really see. So we have, the market is really booming globally. There are different reasons. So of course, this getting access to the markets, global market, all that, but there are also some other more regional reasons in order to invest into this technology and adopt it quickly.
Very good point about made in Germany. And sometimes, even myself, when I look at some products and I can really see, details that are as specific as the the supplier or the factory that made a piece, that's added value, for me as a customer. I can see where the thing comes from, and maybe I can even justify spending a couple of euros more, when I have this. So it's not just about speed of go to market, but it's about going to market, presenting information that will actually, presenting data and a level of transparency that enables to win in the market.
Exactly.
So it's speed and quality at the same time.
Exactly.
That,
Speed and quality.
That's exactly right. And this is a little bit off topic, but not really. So we're talking about, the speed to market and the speed to information with regards to product data and new product introductions is kind of the focus. But what we're also seeing, and I mentioned, one of the things we've got is digital shelf we're kind of looking at is when you start looking at product availability, then you want to know, well, what are let's say it's not available on an e-commerce site or marketplace and you need a substitute. Well, how do you know the substitute? Master data. You need to know, okay, these products are substitute products for these products. And then you can plug it and you get more sales because you're actually putting an alternate in there, which is equivalent. And so that's another use case, which is very much, product substitution, but it's also, you don't get there if you don't have the data and you don't know that this product is equivalent. And we see that in healthcare as a perfect example. It's like product X could be used for all these things, but it's maybe more costly. So we use product X for application A and B, and then product B for application C. It's really so you have a universal substitute. You may have a substitute for two specific use cases, but all of that is master data. It is all knowing a specific application of the product set and then what the substitution is for that product set. And our customers, they're getting more sophisticated and their buyers are more sophisticated. So what is the differentiator? It's the data. And so we're seeing it obviously in the B2C space, but it's also the B2B space. The business consumer is equivalent to the actual end consumer. They are doing their research. They want to know what the substitute is. They run out of something. Hey, what can I do? There it is. And that's all based on master data.
That's a big one, indeed. And it works, It absolutely works when they're given a substitute because, again, something is over, you just leave the website normally.
That's right.
If you don't see any alternative. And here you have a big shot, like the company selling has a big shot at maintaining the customer on the website. And especially when again the data is correct and the substitution is relevant and appropriate for the missing piece. So very big one, very big point here. Completely agree. So and also it's quite interesting to hear from you about B2B being similar, like having similar scenarios in the B2B area, because the initial description that you gave me sounded very much like the shirt I wanted is over, so there's another one with a similar color. But it makes perfect sense that this applies to the organizations that are dealing with different products and are looking for alternatives. I mean, they're going to have to find alternatives somewhere else too. Better if they find it directly on your on your channel or on your website or on your catalog or whatever it is they're consulting.
Yeah, I think the B2C consumer is the B2B consumer. Let's be honest. It's interesting because in the past, B2B, a lot of times you would have a representative for the manufacturer or whatever selling to the other business. And what we're seeing more and more, and Jürgen mentioned this is also a little bit off topic, but with our dynamic configuration, the consumer can actually configure the product they want without having the salesperson, right? So then they can actually go and they can make their determination, and then they may either let an internal salesperson from their supplier review it prior to making the purchase, or they may just make the purchase directly. And so, and once again, that's an informational decision. You need to, within parameters that are acceptable, hey, can I put these things together? And if it's doable and engineering within the organization that says yes, it's doable, once again based on data, then you're able to go and make the determination, and you make your own product and purchase it, just like somebody would purchase a shirt with that is to their specifications in the consumer market. So we're seeing a lot more of that. A lot more companies are, and COVID pushed a lot of that too. Basically, where a purchaser had to make a decision, and people or resources may not have been available, so there was more of a push to commerce sites or marketplaces, and you're seeing more and more of that autonomy to be able to make those decisions on product.
I really agree with the point about the B2B and B2C consumers being consumers. It's there is not such a marked line anymore in many ways. We're still dealing with the customization being something that both clients require. The fact that probably the person choosing things is still a person, therefore we're still dealing with people, and so on. So the perception before that B2B somehow can get away with being maybe less agile or maybe less digital, it's fading away as we speak. Customers are customers. Speed is speed. The trustworthiness of your data is at the very core of all of making all of that happen. So we have a question here from Francisca. Does digital content of product data, such as picture, is considered as master data?
That's a very good question. I would actually even extend it a little bit. Especially if it's about products and product data, what we are talking about here, and with respect to time to market. I think if you consider master data only, and it's always a kind of discussion on this topic, if you really consider master data being only some core facts and some core data, like maybe article number, order number, pricing information, some additional facts, and that's it. So this is a way you can do it, but it will not have a significant effect on time to market. So if this is your master data and that's all, this is not enough in order to get your products to new markets quickly. So here it's absolutely clear that you need rich data. So you also need description, you need images, you need videos, visualization, everything, maybe audio, all that stuff. So you have to add all this to your data set and to your master data set, and it all has to be readily and immediately available. And it has to be available together. So very rarely today you can, of course, if you just exchange with maybe some e-procurement systems, you get along without, but even there, typically also send some pictures. So I would say if it's about reducing time to market, definitively, when we are talking about master data here in the session, then this includes, this means rich data, and rich data means multi-language, means description, so text, long text, means visualization, so videos, audios, all that stuff. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I would say yeah. My short answer would be yes, definitely. It is master data.
Yeah, but it's of course true. So there are lots of MDM systems out there that do not manage it because they, have a different history and some mainly. So typically, it's it's historically it was not so much about product data, but maybe other domains. Then this kind of information is not so important. But when it's about product data, that's simply super important. So then it is rich data. Sometimes you see architectures where you have kind of one MDM solution focusing on the syndication backend part, and another solution focusing on the enrichment part and the data provisioning to kind of fill this gap. Or of course, like with ours, you have all in one and can do all this with one solution.
Yeah, I agree with that. I guess what I'm saying is though is if it's not associated, then you run into the problem of having your pictures or images or rich content not marrying up to your core product data, which is kind of defeats the purpose of master data essentially. And so it's if we're talking about product management, you need to have all the articles and everything that's affiliated with the product be considered part of the master data set essentially.
Yeah, and maybe if you use another term, like if you think about the result. So the result of master data management ideally is that you have kind of a data as a service scenario. So you have all data immediately available as a service, as you need it. And when you think it like this, then it's evident that this has to include images, videos, everything that is available.
Do you feel like the definition of master data is stretching a little bit as we go, as we move forward? What do you think?
Yeah, yes and no. I think this is not a new discussion. So this discussion is out there already 10 years or more, maybe 20 years. I think it's really this, when it's about product, you also have this category like PIM, Product Information Management Solutions. So those solutions are completely focused on product only and deal with this enrichment topic. This category actually came up because initially MDM was more focused on the core data and not so much on rich data, but this is simply not enough. When it's about products, you need more, so it doesn't cover it. But this discussion was always there, and I think it really depends on the domain. As I mentioned, when the architecture you build internally in your organization, if you use different solutions and combine it, has of course more complexity, or if you have one solution covers it all, or whatever, doesn't matter. But in the end, it's about products. You have to think about end result product data as a service, and for products, this should include all that. And it has always been like this. Before it was the same shortcomings like today, and this is an ongoing discussion.
Yeah, I think that if we start bickering about definitions, being very strict about what is, X data and the other data, then we're missing out on what do we actually, why are we even talking about them? What should be the end result? What's the business outcome?
Right.
Okay, very good, gentlemen. Always such a pleasure speaking to you. And we're coming to the end of the discussion, also because, I have a lamp here. Aside from the heat of the natural heat of the day, I also have a lamp which is melting me in real time. So, but yeah, aside from that, it's really been a pleasure, and I would like to ask you, how can people find out more about how they can accelerate their time to market with MDM? How can they connect with you?
Well, they can go to our website at viamedici.com, or they can go to our LinkedIn site, viamedici, and we'll put it into the chat here in terms of contact information as well, with a QR code that they can just take. So there's lots of ways to contact us, or contact us directly. Grab us on LinkedIn, or feel free to email us. We'll put that in there as well.
Absolutely, and I invite everyone to go and check this out, because indeed time to market is such an important topic nowadays. In the age of speed, you just can't delay the time with which your idea, with new products and new ideas and innovations come out of your company. So I absolutely recommend everyone to connect with Jürgen and now check out what they do and learn more about how to get stuff done in terms of time to market and MDM. So, gentlemen, then I look forward then to the next discussion we're going to have, and I want to thank everyone for attending the session today.
Thanks, Pio. It's a pleasure. Thanks for your participation.
Thanks, Pio, and thanks everybody for watching us here.
Until next time.